This is the Art of Lawyering podcast, a show all about making more money, being a badass attorney, and loving your life. The Art of Lawyering is all about becoming the best you possible. Whether you are a law firm owner, an associate attorney, or somewhere in between, this podcast is built to help you get the most out of life.
Hello and welcome to episode 16 of the Art of Lawyering podcast. As always, I'm your host, Christopher Small, and I am excited to welcome you to another Friday episode of the podcast. But before we get going, I want to announce a couple of changes or a couple of minor tweaks that I'm going to be doing here for a little while to this Friday episode in particular. And the thing is, I'm not getting a lot of questions from you guys. I put requests for questions out there on the Facebook page. I put a request for questions out to you all, and I know that you have a ton of questions because I do get some from time to time here and there, but I think you guys are afraid to ask, and that's okay. But if I don't have questions, then I can't give answers. So I'm going to stop the Q&As until I can get more Qs. I'd like to be able to do 30 minutes of Q&A every Friday, and I'm just not getting enough volume to be able to do that. And for something like that, that's probably only, 5 or 6 questions. And, maybe I'll just wait for some to build up and I'll do a Q&A episode. I'll wait for some to build up. I'll do a Q&A episode like that. Plus, I like to, so in the alternative though, what I'm going to do is use this time to sort of go back to a little bit of the old format that I did with Law Firm Marketing Mastery. And that is to just sort of talk about what's going on with me and my firm, some of the things that are working, some of the things that aren't. Just talk more in a monologue fashion, just me, no interviews on Fridays. And that will also kind of help me get out the things that I need to say. If you haven't been over to the Art of Lawyering blog lately, or theartoflawyering.com, I'd encourage you to go check it out. I've been putting up a post pretty much every day for the last 2 months or so. So there's a lot of great content there. There's a lot of great information. And because I'm doing it every day, most of that stuff is in bite-sized snippets. So you can really get in and get out quick. A bunch of great little quick hitter kind of stuff. But all great content, all stuff that you can use right now to make your firm better, which is what this is really all about. The other thing that I wanted to announce was that, I've got the membership site, which I talk about all the time, but I wanted to up the ante a little bit, right? I wanted to make it easy for you to raise your hand and ask for help. So what I've decided to do is create a free course. It's called, and the other thing I wanted to do too, really to just be sort of full disclosure, is I want to give you an opportunity to see what life is like inside of Law Firm Confidential, because I think that as lawyers, we're skeptical of things and we're not really sure. We always are looking for the downside, right? And I know that the people that get in love it. And, people very rarely leave. Most of the people that have left, if not all of them, have left because they have decided to go take legal jobs or something. And they're not pursuing their firm anymore. So, and most of those people, the change is after like a month. So we've had members that have been in for over a year now and are still going strong, which I think is a testament to the group and the content. So, I'm really proud of that, and I'm proud of the people that are in there for raising their hands and being open to sharing what's going on and learning and taking their firm to the next level. But in any event, what I've decided to do is I'm going to create a new course. It's going to be free. And I'm just going to give it to you, okay? It's going to be how to start a law firm in 30 days. All right, it's going to be a breakdown. It's going to be 30 lessons, 31-day lessons. Every day you're going to get an email directing you to probably a video. I haven't made the whole course yet, so I don't know what every day is going to be like. But a video on what I would do day 1, for example, if I was starting my firm. What I would do on day 2. And then some help to get you going to do that, obviously. If you are interested in checking that out, you can go to theartoflawyering.com/start and you can find it. Okay, so theartoflawyering.com/start. So I'd encourage you to go check that out. Again, it's a free course, and it's going to be a game changer for you if you're interested in starting a firm. If you have started a firm but it's not going the way that you want, and you're kind of wondering, where could you sort of change things up, this would be some great free content for you to be able to do that. So, I'd encourage you to go check that out. And once again, theartoflawyering.com/start. Okay? Go check that out. So those are the announcements that I have today. And, I didn't even told you what this episode is going to be about, right? So this episode is going to be about the 5 things I'd do differently if I was starting my firm all over again. Okay, kind of in the same vein as the new course that I'm going to be releasing. The 5 things I do differently if I was starting my firm all over again. All right, so let's get right to it. Okay, so I made this quick list. It's not in any particular order, but there are definitely some things that I would change and start over differently if it all went away for some reason. And most of these, to sort of give you a teaser, have to do with getting out of the gate faster and making more money faster, being more successful faster. And when I talk about, making more money, you can just equate it with getting more clients or, whatever sort of is your motivation. That's what these things are mostly going to be there to do. Okay, so enough beating around the bush. Let's just talk about the first one. The first thing that I would do differently is I would definitely take the time to learn and incorporate Google AdWords into my marketing plan right away. I've been using it really heavily for the last 6 months or so, and it's a total game changer in many, many different ways. It provides you immediate leads that are hot, and what I mean by hot is these people have legal problems. That's why they're looking for you. So they're about the best prospects that you can have, and the cost is kind of expensive. It depends on what you're charging for a case. For example, I'm paying about $50 a pop for a DUI lead. Okay, but if I'm charging $3,900 to $4,900 for a DUI, I can go through a lot of clicks before I start to lose money on something like that. All right, so I would have taken the time to do that a lot earlier. It's easy to learn. It's easy to incorporate. It's easy to optimize. And what I mean by optimize is just make it better so that you pay less and get more interested clients in your door. It's easy to hook it up and do all that kind of stuff. So that's one of the things that I would do first. And if you recall back in the day, I did hire somebody to do some Google AdWords for me, and they didn't do a very good job. Not only did they not really spend the time to differentiate my firm from all the other DUI firms out there, but they mirrored my site, and then they did some stuff with Google local search that kind of jacked all my stuff up. So I really, really wasn't happy with that aspect of it, and that kind of turned me off of Google AdWords for quite a long time. The other thing is, too, to be completely honest, is that I still, to this day, even though I understand the economics and that, even if I spent 10 clicks and spent $500 to get one client, I still would make a lot of money off of that one client, or I would, I'd be able to pay rent and do those things. Certainly pay for the marketing investment in Google AdWords. But I still have a really, really hard time of seeing past that initial $500 investment to the payoff of the new client. And so that also slowed me down for a long time. What I've been doing lately is just pushing through that, understanding that the economics do work, that Google AdWords does work, and that I just have to get over my own fears of losing that money and just go give it a shot. So that's one of the things that I would do differently. The second thing that I would do differently is I would have started a concerted, strategic networking effort right from the get-go. And I could have identified certain referral partners in let's say, keeping with the DUI context, bail bondsmen, for example. I'm 5 years in, and I could right now be best friends with every single bail bondsman in the city if I would have just made it a priority to do that. It's not a difficult thing to do. Just, start hanging out with them, sponsor a couple happy hours, take the guys out to lunch every once in a while, and pretty soon they start sending you business. And I didn't do that, and I still don't do that, quite frankly, not in the way that I want. But that is another way to really create some business opportunities quickly, because those people, they have business to refer, and if you can get your foot in the door there and start to get some referrals, then that's a really great marketing effort as well. And I didn't do that, and I still don't do it as well as I should. So, and that can even be cheaper than Google AdWords. Couple of cups of coffee, and you can do that. The other thing about the networking thing is it's a long-term play too, because once you establish these relationships, they will just keep paying off for you over and over and over again. And the other cool thing about it is you're probably going to meet some really cool people and make some really cool friends, great friends, and create some great relationships that could last forever. And we're missing out on that because we don't have the guts to pick up the phone or walk into a potential referral partner's place of business and ask them if they'll go to lunch with us. Kind of like a date. So that's the second thing I would do differently. The third thing that I would do differently is I would seek out and try to create relationships with a relationship with a true mentor right away. And I haven't done that, and I still haven't done that. I think this one's a little more difficult because lawyers for the most part like to play it close to the vest. We feel like for some reason that the stuff that we're doing no one else knows about, and that if we tell people our secrets, we're going to lose all of our money. When the fact of the matter is, in most cases, the successful attorneys are just practicing sort of fundamental business practices. They're using the fundamentals that every other business uses to make money. Or there's some strategic relationship that would be nearly impossible for anyone else to create right away. That is a great source of business. But, there was the first place that I rented office space from, the owner of that firm, still to this day, is probably one of the best, from a business standpoint, one of the best law firm owners that I've ever met. He crushes it now. He was crushing it when I went in there. And it would have been amazing to create the kind of relationship where I could learn something from him. Now, with that being said, he was definitely one of the guys that wanted to play it close to the vest. After a year or so being at his office, when my lease was up for a year, he would not let me renew my lease because he began to see me as a threat to his business. So he and granted, he'd been burned a little bit by some people in the past, but he didn't renew my lease. So that made the creating a relationship with him, a mentor-mentee relationship, a little bit difficult. But still, there were other people out there that I could have reached out to, and that is one of the things that I would like to do, because it's really great to have someone to bounce ideas off of, to just meet with even once a month and tell them what you're doing and what you plan to do, and then have somebody follow up with you that next month and see if you've actually done the things that you say you're going to do. That's a big part of the inner circle, my mastermind group, is that accountability aspect. Every week we have the members have quarterly goals, and then every week we meet and we report on what we were going to do for the last week, and we create new action items for the week ahead. The whole idea being, what am I going to do this week that's going to help me meet my quarterly goal, right? So that's that. And by the way, if anybody is ever interested in what I do with my mastermind group, you can go to theartoflawyering.com/mastermind and get some more information there. Okay. The guys that I've had with me now have been with me for many, many months now. I keep the groups small on purpose. So there's only 3 people allowed in any one group, and this one's full. But like I said before in the past, if I can fill up another one, I would create another one. I'll just tell you the price is $4.97 a month, but we meet every week for an hour. So it's a pretty cool deal. It is, we meet via Skype, so we do it over the phone. Basically, it's very intimate, and over time, you really come to trust and know the other people in the group, and you root for their success, and you see the things that they're doing, and it really pushes you to be better. So I'd say, again, my goal is always to at least provide 10x value for anything that I charge for. So I'm hoping to give these guys at least $5,000 worth of value every month. And I think I've been doing that. And that's why they're sticking around. So again, theartoflawyering.com/mastermind if you want any information about that. If I get enough people that want to form another group, then I'll do that. And I'd love to have you. So anyway, that mentor group, or that mentor, I really wish I would have been able to find someone again. I think that would just fast forward my growth. I did, have Arjan, who I've talked about a lot in the past, who is a law firm management guy, and he did provide me a ton of guidance. But with that being said, he's not in it, like I am. So it would have been nice to have somebody that was actually in it, that I could find here locally and just meet with face to face. Okay, so that's the third thing. The fourth thing that I would have done is I would not have bought or signed that lease for that office. I would have no office. I would have found some way to do it without an office. That probably would have meant having a temporary, not a temporary space, but maybe like a Regis space where I could just have an address and then have a conference room if I needed one. But you don't really need that, really. You can meet people by phone most of the time. If they really want to come in, then you can get a conference room. But the libraries here are awesome. Every place now has Wi-Fi, and you can go get some serious work done almost anywhere. The only downside is you need a quiet place maybe to make phone calls or receive phone calls. But you know what? Quite frankly, you could always just take your phone calls out on the street and tell people you're going back and forth to court. You could tell them that you are on your way to another meeting and you have time for this quick phone call, that kind of thing. But the one of the things that I didn't do well was manage my cash flow, and I'm really learning about that right now. It's taken me years to do it, and minimizing your expenses is one of the easiest ways to really put money in your pocket and get ahead fast at the beginning. And really, even to add with this, no office, I would say, look, I wouldn't buy malpractice insurance at the beginning. I would have a computer and a phone and spend some money to create my website. And that's it. Save the rest of the budget for marketing, for AdWords, for all that stuff. Once I got some clients, then I get some malpractice insurance. Because you don't need it, right? When you start, you really don't need it. You don't need malpractice insurance. And for a couple of reasons. Main reason is you're not going to be able to do that much harm. You're going to study your butt off to try to do things right. The other thing is let's say everything just goes crazy, goes to hell in a handbasket. Your assets are not going to be big enough for anybody to take anything from you anyway. So it's very rare that malpractice insurance actually comes into play. I've only seen it come into play a couple times, and it's when people just colossally messed up. Missed the statute of limitations on a personal injury case or something like that, where you just royally mess it up. Otherwise, that's part of being a lawyer. Part of being a lawyer is that you're going to do your best for your clients, and that's not always going to turn out for them. That doesn't mean that they should sue you for money, right? So that's number 4. I would try to keep my expenses as tight as possible. And for me, it was tough because I really wanted a place not at my house to work, but those places exist all over. And now that I live not a long ways away from my office, but it's inconvenient for me to just leave my house and go to the office like on a Saturday, I go to the library and just crush it. It's awesome. So that's it. And then the 5th thing that I would do, the last thing that I would change and I do differently if I was starting my law firm all over again, is I would stop jumping around and I would work on one thing until it was done. I would focus on one thing. There's this, if you sort of poke around in the marketing world or sort of in the self-help world, there's this saying where it's like, look, squirrel, right? Or another term for it is the bright, shiny object syndrome. It's really, really easy to jump around from new thing to new thing to new thing and get excited and never pick anything and never implement anything and never actually get anything done. And I definitely suffer from that. I was able to get a lot done, but there's a lot hanging out there that I could wrap up if I would just focus. If I would just focus and sit down and get it done and stop jumping around from thing to thing. So that is the 5th thing that I would do differently if I was starting all over again. And I think those 5 changes would have gotten me to where I am right now in at least half the time. So I've been I didn't double last year, but the first few years I doubled my practice every year. Now I'm getting sort of big enough where doubling is not impossible, but it's tougher. And that's why I'm having to really learn these lessons and internalize them now for sure, because if I want to make those changes, that's the only way I'm going to be able to do it. But if I would have done these earlier, man, I would have been crushing it. I would have more money in the bank right now, and everything would be cooler. But my loss is your gain, right? Because now you can try to incorporate these. And if you're if you're in the way, if you're in the market, if you're starting a law firm, then these are the kinds of things that I'm going to talk about in this new course, right? So theartoflawyering.com/start to go check that out. Okay. I think that's it for today. I've given you the reminder on the course, which my notes say. I'll give it to you one more time. theartoflawyering.com/start. If that's not burned in your brain by now, then I don't know when it will be. I've got a cool interview coming up for you next week, and I want you to have a great weekend. I want you to be happy and chase your dreams and know that you can achieve them. All right, so have a great day, have a great weekend, have a great month, have a great quarter. I will talk to you soon. Bye.
Thanks for listening to the Art of Lawyering podcast. For more great action-packed advice and information, visit theartoflawyering.com.